$2,000. It's the only $2,000 I have.
Yeah.
And now there's an issue. You're like,
Yeah.
that's the worst.
It really does.
That's hard.
And like, so I'm kind of the guy who handles those calls and those text messages on the weekends. The thing that I really hate is like having to deal with the text messages and seeing the clients who can communicate that well on the weekend, right? Like I still answer them. I feel bad if I don't answer them. And like, especially if they're upset, it's a whole lot easier to deal with them right now and say, hey man, I'm terribly sorry you're having a problem.
Well, they're going to respond well with that.
Exactly. As opposed to like, but man, it makes me nervous over the weekend. It ruins my whole weekend. I can't.
How do you feel about this cable management?
I can tell who did the cable management.
We didn't do any cable management.
That's my point.
We just hooked it up and went. You know what helped is the black.
Yeah. You know,
you can't see it.
Well, we can get another one of these
and just throw it on top.
Right on top, and you wouldn't even know.
We normally have two tables. Like that's what has
worked.
And
they drop in between.
Yeah, so we run all the cables, so everything's just hanging out underneath, and everything looks nice and clean, and it comes up. It looks really nice.
Reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons where Homer looks super buff, and everything's just kind of all the fat's taped up on the back.
What are you saying?
Yeah. Hey, David, did you ever sleep this morning?
Huh?
Did you ever sleep a little bit?
Just a tad. You know, I didn't. I stayed up late to watch the Celtics game last night. They won, by the way.
Nice.
So I didn't set my alarm, and I usually have it set, but I forgot to turn it on.
You know what time I woke up? 3 a.m. I wake up at 5 every day. So like,
you went 3 a.m. and you got here at 7?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell were you doing for 4 hours?
Oh, I went back to sleep. No, I went, dude. Come on now.
Look at me. You can try to be a gentleman here.
Yeah. Nobody running. What are you talking about?
Listen, if I'm running, there's something after me.
I was gonna say the cops are back there.
That's it. So this is the first iScan conference.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the first time I've been to this facility.
Same here.
What is that noise?
That is
the AC just kicked on.
Hey, listen, I know this guy. He's really good with noise abatement. And
no, I cannot fix that. It's going to be in the background the whole time. I rented this Ford Expedition. I thought I was going to get a Chevrolet. I got this Ford Expedition. I get in the car, and this noise just coming through the speakers. I'm like, what is that noise? And I think I think the subwoofer or whatever, not the subwoofer, the amp.
Yeah.
I think the amplifier's blown. It's coming through. It sounds like this all the time. You're driving, the entire time you're driving, you hear this.
You haven't heard about the new white noise option on the new Chevys?
Hey, what's interesting? Isn't that a thing now? Like the EVs have a little bit of a white noise or a little bit of something, so they don't reach up and try and start the car at a stoplight.
Yes, that way there's some sort of tactile or at least audible response to,
right.
Hey, this is on. Just like when you back up. Have you heard the new backup sound? It is the weirdest thing. It reminds me of War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise.
Right.
Like the noise that those machines make in that movie is almost like the same noise that these new EVs when they.
I want to look that up.
It's like. I'm like, what the hell? Like the first time I heard it, I was with my kid. He's like, Dad, what's that? I'm like, oh, where's Tom Cruise? Oh, I just got the bomb. I'm sorry.
So no, you're fine. You're fine. Nobody cares. So we were at.
What did he do?
Huh?
Did I space out there? What did he just do?
You're going to learn that this is pretty common. He's going to be completely off in La La Land, and then he interrupts. This is his role here. Okay, this is what he does. So we were at ETI Tool Tech.
Sure.
And Tom Cruise was there because of the Top Gun thing, the Midway deal, and all that.
Yes.
My wife hates Tom Cruise, and so I was like going to go try and find him and take a picture in the whole 9 yards just to send to her, just to piss her off. She hates him that much.
But he was at ETI.
No.
Well, I know across the way.
Yeah, Midway. Midway is in San Diego,
Yes.
so they were doing their red carpet opening and everything at the Midway. So I didn't get the chance. That would have really upset her.
Yeah, I was down at the Del Mar manufacturing show that was going on at the same time. That's why we didn't make EDI.
Yeah, very cool.
Or ETI.
So Joshua, who are you with?
So Kirian, we actually are a tool company birthed from other tool companies. So our team has been building other companies in the space for the last 10 years. And about 4 years ago, we broke off and created our own company. So we've got our names on patents and products for everyone from Snap-on to Power Probe, things that we've built and designed and launched all over the world. Everything in the automotive electrical and diagnostic and testing space
Right.
has been our pedigree. And so 4 years ago when we founded Curian, pretty much the rockstar team that we had in those other companies, building those things, the engineering side, the manufacturing side, the R&D, the sales and marketing,
Right.
everyone just kind of had that point where they were either done with what they were doing or the place they were at. And we all just kind of said, well, why don't we get together and make our own band?
Right.
And that's what we did.
That's pretty slick. And and so, I had never heard of it before.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's okay. I mean, so this little thing called COVID kind of got in the way of the company launch and the product launches.
Right.
Might have heard that one.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. So what's the primary thing you offer right now? Like it looks like you got some pretty cool stuff. I captured some cool video from down there. David's not heard anything because somebody shows up late to the party every time, not just every once in a while, every time. That's the one thing you can bet on. By the way, we're going to start telling him that we actually need to start maybe 3-4 hours earlier than we actually do.
That helps for some folks.
It does. Yeah. And so we're gonna
we don't even set times. I don't know what you're bitching about. We don't even set times.
Just show up. Yeah, you're gonna feel it in your bones when you know you gotta show up.
That's why I freaked out when I woke up. I'm like, oh crap, I'm behind already.
My left arm. Oh,
I know. So usually what happens is he's over here. He's got to shave his head every morning, right?
Okay. I did that for a while, so I can feel you. You got to keep that out. Otherwise,
why would you shave your head?
I don't know. I don't know. I was younger. I was dumb.
I have to shave my head. It's just the sides because otherwise it just grows out.
Yeah, I kind of started looking like that dude from the Hitman movies. And I just I'm not too into it. I did it for a few weeks and that was about it.
Well, here's the thing is that he gets up late and the next thing you know he comes in and he's got these like bloody streaks.
I have to yeah, that is definitely a thing. You're rushing through, you're just slicing up your head.
And you're using the soap instead of the foam because you're running.
Well, I'm in a hotel, so you just use whatever.
This body wash.
Poor David.
All they had was sand outside.
It's been a thing.
He comes in and he's got all these spots and we were like, oh no, what happened? Were you in an accident? No, he is the accident.
There was a bobcat.
It was a bobcat. He laughs. I'm gonna use that. I fought off with this bobcat on the way in.
Listen. We all know that you are so you live the city life. Okay, there's no chance. The only kind of bobcat you're gonna get an argument with,
whatever,
is made by Ingersoll.
I'm gonna push the narrative out. He fights bobcat.
Hashtag bobcat.
Oh God. So David's not got a chance to see your tool yet. It's pretty freaking cool.
Thank you.
It's very interesting, and it's Justin and I were talking about it a little bit ago. It is something different, right? Like it's something you don't see every day.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about it. I'm super excited to hear.
Yeah. So before I talk about the tool, I want to kind of frame it with a preface. The company's name is Curian.
Okay.
And a lot of people ask us, what does that mean? They even call it Korean or, what is that? There's a little hyphen there.
Right.
It's supposed to be a hyphen. So it actually stands for curiosity engaged. Okay. And that's really kind of a mantra that the whole team has lived by over the last 10 years, where we're not just curious about what things can happen. We believe you need to be curious about what you can do and what's possible. We've got to be actively engaged in making that happen, because technology doesn't evolve itself on its own. That's exactly. Somebody has to drive it. A lot of people got to put a lot of hard work into it to make that happen.
Right.
I mean, look at the space launch.
Yeah.
We went to the moon. When were we on the moon? In the 60s?
Yeah,
69.
69. So from then, we devolved, right? We could barely put people into orbit, and then we completely stopped for a decade or two. And now it's taken Elon and all these other companies going after it, really getting after it, to put people back up there. It devolved on its own.
Right.
Nobody was putting in that time and the effort. The same thing goes with everything else technologically.
Right.
You have to put in that effort.
Yeah.
You have to put in that thought.
Right. Well, and that's something that we see shop owners do is they'll get to a point, they'll plateau, and then they slide backwards and they don't realize they're doing it.
That's it. You get comfortable.
Yeah.
And then you kind of like, you stop paying attention. You turn your head away.
Right.
And all of a sudden there's 50 fires in this direction.
Exactly. Maybe you're bored, right?
Yeah.
You know, David. I think
Well, he's got
talking about
bobcats to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be focused on it.
Space is dumb. To what benefit? I mean, they threw up satellites up there. That's cool.
You know why he?
What's the point of going to the moon?
When he's offended by something, or he thinks that way? You know why, right? It's that he exceeded the weight limit for the ride. I mean,
Exceeded the weight limit for what ride?
he called Elon and he said, "Look, I would love to be on your next space flight."
I don't want to go into space. There's no chance of living in space.
See,
Like it's just instant death from every direction. So let's put some humans up there. That sounds like a good idea.
hey, question. Just curious. Do you think they would pay out on your life insurance if that happened?
Maybe. I don't know. I think there's a clause in there like I can't go parachuting because if I died parachuting, they're not going to pay out. There's like 2 or 3 things like I'm not supposed to do because they're not going to pay out.
You're not supposed to do.
Well, if I want my family to get the life insurance,
Sure.
I'm well insured by the way.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
I'm kind of gathering that.
Yeah.
Nope. No. With bobcats floating around.
Yeah, I know.
No. If I get attacked by a bobcat and it kills me, bobcats aren't that big.
They're really not. They're not. If you've ever heard one up close and personal, though, they are. I mean, listen, I don't want to fight a house cat. I remember
I
that.
will chuck that cat so fast. I will
Dude.
eat that cat. I will punt it
Listen. There is a video.
and I will kick it.
There is a video on YouTube of the dude. I don't know if y'all remember this. There's a video and a dude's got a cat on a leash. Now, I don't know if you ever had a cat on a leash, but that's not something you really want to do. Okay. That's bad news. I have seen a cat get like a little bag stuck around it. I know what happens. This dude is showing off the cat for all the people who could want it on the morning news, right? And this cat turns and crawls up this dude's leg. And as he turns, he's clawing into this dude's leg. He's got his like up in his inner thigh.
Oh,
His claws are in. You see the blood running down dude's leg. This is a house cat, mind you. Well, it's wrapped the rope around dude's leg at the same time. So the cat's stuck. He can't get the cat
And
off.
it's just tearing him up.
Yeah, dude. And he's like biting him, clawing him, the whole 9 yards. Dude's screaming. This is on live television. There's a video on YouTube. It's like,
if you've ever opened a jar of pickles,
yeah.
you know.
Exactly. Well, I mean, like he's screaming. He's trying to get this cat off, and this cat is not going to let go. And I mean, the problem with a cat is their claws have curl to them. Right?
Oh yeah,
So
they
if
dig
you're
in
trying-
and they turn it.
It digs in. But at the same time, like the only reason why he didn't rip the cat off is because he didn't want to on live television kill the cat.
No,
well,
dude,
that's what I'm saying.
no, I promise you. I promise you,
exactly.
He
Pop
was-
that head right off.
I think he was really trying, but I think the pain where that cat hit, like if you saw where that cat hit, you might understand.
but you have to react in a certain way. Like you'd have to freeze, right?
He didn't freeze, but the pain, like
He's trying to get the cat off without killing the cat. But like he's saying, just pop that head right off.
I hate to tell you,
Guys,
homeboy wasn't thinking anything about that at that point. Like,
he's
I
just
mean,
like,
Was he worried about his junk? Is that what the problem was?
yeah, wouldn't you be? I mean, like this cat,
ugh.
we're gonna have before we
As it approached the junk, it's like this cat's done.
sorry.
Sorry,
No,
folks. I'm
I-
about to kill this cat.
I don't
Viewer
think
discretion
you
is advised.
I don't think you understand how fast a cat is.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole
No.
point. Is like I don't think you understand. Like you're in trouble before you know you're in trouble.
I think
I
we're
don't
missing
know.
an important disclaimer. Apparently, the three of us have ADHD.
No.
He does not. He does not.
This
follow.
one,
Yeah.
you don't. Like,
I do. Oh, legitimately, I do.
Not nearly as. I promise. Like not as bad as. We got post last night where people are saying like, could someone please try and keep him on track? I'm like, I do. Like, and if I say anything too mean, he's like, he doesn't talk for the next 3 episodes.
When I decided I was going to work on cars, it became very apparent that I could not keep my attention long enough to actually fix the car. And so the worst thing in the world, I think I would have made it. I said this before. I think I would have made it if I had electric ratchets back in the day.
Sure, because
But it's the like I'm doing this, and like 30 seconds into it, I'm like, I'm done. This is it. Nope, this can't be fixed. Push it outside, burn it. I'm done. I can't. This is like it's mind numbing. Like, shit, what am I gonna do later? I don't know what's going on here. Like your mind's racing, and you're like, I can't. No.
But it's funny that you say that. And hard segue here.
Right.
That's actually why and how we built our tools the way we did, because what you
Really?
just said, I'm not going to say everybody's that way, but a big percentage of the automotive industry, we're hands-on people. We have to be there with the problem, understanding. Like, don't get me wrong, these classes here are great and fantastic. And if you can learn that way, God bless you.
Right.
Because I know I can't.
Right.
I'm hands-on, dude. If I'm not actively engaged in that, like, hey,
right.
there goes a cat video.
Exactly. Well, and you know what's interesting about that is I just talked to some of my techs. We went to some training events, and they said, listen, the only thing we ask is that if we go to a training event, let's make it something that we can actually come back and put into practice.
Yes.
And actually touch and put our hands on and do it.
Yes.
Because then we can retain the knowledge. And I think that's everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that's just folks with ADHD. I think that's everybody.
A lot of people. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of tactile, neurological responses that go into education and learning, all the way to where your hands are involved while you read and the angles and everything else. Like, there's all kinds of science behind that.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think with technicians, though, I know my technicians can focus in on that bolt and get it out. I cannot. They will sit there and they'll wrench it.
Level.
What's that?
You're an extra special.
Apparently, I'm just saying that they can focus in and they're like, we're going to get this bolt out, and they can concentrate on that task to get it done. And so a lot of technicians listen to this podcast and they're like, finish the conversation, get to the end, and then move on.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's crazy to see. And I talked to my wife about it, and he'll send me a video about ADHD, like some little funny reel or something. My wife's like, well, exactly. You deal with that with me every day, and it's
squirrel.
Exactly. And but this is not a special case. This is anyway.
That's awful.
So how many tools have you got on the market right now?
So right now we have the main flagship, the N2 Neuron. And then we actually have all the accessories to go with it. Amp clamps, connector sets, pin out kits, back probe lead sets, various cables and things.
This is kind of game changing though, right? Like, this is really freaking cool.
So let me talk to you a little bit about it. So what it is it's the industry's first compact 2-channel Bluetooth graphing meter. Right now I have it in a accessory magnetic boot, because you always got to keep your tool wrapped up, right?
Right.
So you've got the N2. It's Bluetooth enabled to iOS or Android. So whether you get an iPhone, an iPad, a Samsung tablet, a Samsung phone, an Android phone, you're able to actually get your volts, your ohms, your amps, your temperature, continuity, diode testing.
Right.
We have 2 channels of voltage measurement. Now, what makes it really cool is, unlike your normal meters that are like 400 hertz a second, this is 8,000 hertz on 2 channels. So 8,000 samples a second, 2 channel. So I'm actually getting waveforms out of this. I can shut off the normal RMS measurements, but I've got a scope in my pocket effectively. It's about 95% plus of a scope, because I've got the ohms and the amps and everything else on there, and temp. So the reason we call it neuron is, just like in our brains, we have neurons that are taking the physical world that's feeling and smelling and touching through our nervous system, and converting that into electrical impulses in our brains for us to understand and to interpret into sound and touch and feel. And so we are building an artificial intelligence diagnostic system that will take the physical analog world and interpret that and help to assist the technicians in diagnosing what they're doing. We don't want to build Skynet and take over the world kind of thing. But we definitely feel that in the last decade in the space, from all the trainings, all the shows, all the ride-alongs, all the in-shop visits we've been doing, the number one thing that guys and gals out there really need and want is they need that mentor. They need that help. If they don't know how to do something, they need that education. But like we just covered, they're not going to sit in a training class and necessarily retain that. They have to learn as they go.
Right.
So we're building the system not to do the latest and greatest measurements, although they will. That's a subset. We're building the system to be your guide on rails as you're going down that diagnostic process, and tell you, hey, this is good, this is bad. Here's how to do it. So I'm going to show you guys. I'm not intending to put it on the camera, but this is a beta version of the app right now. And obviously it's been in a shop, as you guys can tell from the screen. But we have taken every automotive system test you can do with a meter, and we've digitized it. And I'm going to show you here on a battery system test. You can read how to do the test, or you can watch a 30-second video on how to do it and what it means.
Well, that's cool.
When you've learned, you put it away, you go do your test. It tells you whether or not, in this case, surface voltage was detected. It is not. Once you're done with that, you move on down the process. Okay. If it's not surface voltage that caused that battery to die, maybe it's a state of charge or the cranking system. Maybe the battery's dead. All these tests are built in, automatically configuring the tool for you. You don't have to go in and manually tweak settings like you do with a scope anymore. There's no triggers. There's no, time-based windows you're messing with. It just sets it up for you. It's point and shoot. Teaches you how to do it while you do it.
That's pretty cool.
So it teaches you how to set the thing up, but then it does the interpreting for you.
It will give you feedback. But at the end of the day, the human is smarter than these machines.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to use your touch, your sound, your feel, your smell. You got to use all your 5 senses, whatever the fifth one is. Like,
right.
What is that, emotion or some BS like that?
Yeah.
No.
So it doesn't.
No.
But does it give you like known goods?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's taking its calculations and database off of a database of known goods. So in the case
does it give you the known good? Like if my technician is going to hook that up, he's going to run that test, a cranking test, for example.
Sure.
He's, for example, one of the arguments we have at our shop is that I've always followed the Jim Morton crank it 6 times in a row, test it on the 7th.
Yeah.
And what's the threshold?
So right
if it drops under
right
9.6.
Yes. So
Okay.
9.6 is the threshold hard lined into it. But let me preface this. Right now we have everything from your battery system, your starting, your ignition, your charging, your sensor tests, connections, different power factor testing, voltage drop tests, all built in with known good data. Pretty much anything that you had to learn to pass your A6 is built into this. And off of that whole premise. The data within for the battery system, there's different batteries, AGM, matte pack, lead acid, all that's going to be configurable and toggleable, if that's a word. You can toggle through those.
Toggleable.
And so today, it's pretty much based on the lead acid. However, we are constantly updating the app. Since we've launched the app in 2020, there's been something like 14 different app updates and over 27 new features provided free of charge to existing customers and new and future customers.
That's cool.
Free updates for life.
So let me ask you this question because it's going to come up is can I still do it manually? Right. Like I really like having my voltmeter and what I'm thinking about in my head is that, for instance, I'll be working on a car, I'll back probe a circuit and I want to go sit down in the car and crank it and be able to see my voltmeter instead of trying to stretch it around the side, trying to go back and forth. And that's really where my thoughts going with this.
Yeah.
Is just for a long time.
Whip out the lab scope.
I start with the voltmeter. Voltmeter and test light. Like 90% of what I do is with a voltmeter and test light.
So I'm with you. And most of the people out there are. Like, don't get me wrong, you're probably a top 2% or 5%er on that kind of thing.
They just spend a lot of money on those lab scopes, and so they want an excuse to use them. I'm going to battery test this with a lab scope.
But
just go the battery tester.
But here's the thing.
No, I'm going to use the lab scope.
But here's the thing. Think about setup time. Think about everything else that's associated with it. And I'm not saying like I use the scope all the time, but I use the scope for what I use the scope for.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't take any longer.
I'm using the scope for cam crank correlation, things like that. When I want to see the pattern, when I want to see a waveform, that's when I'm using the scope. Yeah. When I'm wanting to do a basic voltage drop test on something, I'm grabbing my voltmeter and going for it. You know what I mean? I'll load the circuit and boom, I've got my test result.
Exactly. And let's talk a little bit about stats on the market as a whole. There's now, due to COVID and all that, anywhere from about 750,000 to 1.2 million techs out there.
Mm-hmm.
Your top 5%ers are the guys with the scopes. That's why I said, like, hey, you're probably a 1 to 2%er because you're obviously much better than those guys. So with
not me,
he thinks he is.
I don't know what I'm doing. Trust me. Yeah.
So where I'm going at with this is, don't get me wrong, we've built the tool advanced and sexy enough for you guys. But the reality is there's 95% of a million people out there who are working on cars on a daily basis who don't have a $1,500 lab scope, a $2,500, an 8,000 Bernie scope. Like they just don't have that. They have a meter and they need something more. They want to get to that next stage.
Yeah.
But 1, they don't have the training. 2, they don't have the comfort. And 3, the price points are just insane for that. So this is that perfect in between. I give you everything, it gives you everything you need for automotive training and testing. It gives you now your entryway into scopes. So you were talking about manually doing things. You can manually change your time-based windows in the tool.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like a scope. You can come in here and decide whether or not you want to use the system tests. You can turn that off. You've got your full meters in here, volts, ohms, amps. Maybe you don't want to look at temperature. Turn that off. Go just do your voltage readings. Simply graph. And because I'm based on a multimeter architecture, just turn off my RMS functions, and now I've got my waveforms. And it's point and shoot because it's all auto ranging. I'm not setting up triggers, none of that.
That's pretty cool.
Keep it in your pocket with a couple of leads, pull out your phone, you're doing testing on the fly.
Yeah.
I diagnosed my wife's battery as we were driving up to Lake Arrowhead on the side of the road that her battery was dying. We thought it was the alternator. No, sure enough, a couple of crankovers without the fuel pump relay in there. Battery's dropping to 4 or 5 volts. That's not my alternator. That's not charging. It's just a dead battery.
So what's the price point on something like this?
Ooh, man.
Oh, man. I'm asking the hard questions.
The hard questions. Before I go there, but wait, there's more. So on top of all the measurements, I don't have my phone on me. This isn't connected to the internet, but there's a virtual training access area in here where we partner with the industry's top training experts. So next door, we've got G-Truly, TST seminars, ATTS. You got ATS, Bernie Thompson. You got Scott Brown, Brandon Steckler, Dave Hobbs, all through TST. So we've partnered with TST and ATTS to provide automotive education. There is a 24-hour, 3-day course that we had in New York in January. It took $1,000 a person to go there. We sponsored it with G, and we've recorded that, chopped it up into 2-hour segments. It takes you from electrical basics to all the way to passing your ASC service.
Right.
All that training is provided free of charge to somebody who buys one of these inside. There's a full community where you can get known good waveforms, comparisons, case studies. Guys are helping each other out. Through the app, you could do one-on-one chat with a Curian staff member. We have a full video training library on how to use the tool, additional TST videos like I was talking about. And if you still have questions on anything after that, you have full access to our support calendar. You choose the right day and time that works for you, automatically sets up a Zoom meeting, connects us on our calendars, sends you a text message 24 hours in advance, and the morning of saying, don't forget we have a meeting. We meet face to face and we help take care of what's going on. And what I'm about to say is not a smash against others, but when you call us, we answer the phone. When you send an email, within 24 hours or less, and normally it's only an hour or two, we reply. We do WeChat, Twitter, YouTube, all that, the comments, it's all fully monitored around the world. So back to price point. $3,500 worth of tools, training, and support, right? $375 retail.
Dang.
2 years of warranty. We're based in LA. All of our support time people are there. And so we're able to, pretty much handle most of the country without any issue.
Cheaper than a lot of voltmeters.
That's exactly the point, which is why I was saying previously, your 5%, you spent $1,500 to $5,000 on that scope. You get 95% more for $300 in your pocket. Connected to your phone.
Well, and I think about the apprentices, right? I think about the apprentices in the apprentice program in North Carolina. How cool would a tool like that be for them? That it gets them started with something. And I think, and I'm going to end the live stream so we can go ahead and continue in the regular podcast.